Jacob Miller handed the stranger his last $18. It didn't make sense. It shouldn't have happened. An hour earlier, Jacob had been fired from his job, framed for stealing equipment he never touched. Now, the crumpled bills in his wallet were all that stood between him and his 7-year-old daughter, Grace, going to bed hungry. But the woman sitting beside him at the bus stop kept counting her money again and again. Coins, a few torn bills. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold them. "I'm sorry," she whispered, eyes glossy with tears. "I'm short for the bus fare." Jacob looked at her properly, the panic in her breathing, the desperation in her eyes. He recognized it instantly because he saw it every morning in the mirror. He pulled out his wallet. $18. Everything he had. If he gave it to her, he'd have to walk for miles home. Grace would ask why dinner was late. Tomorrow morning, there would be nothing for breakfast. Still, he held out the money. "Please," he said, "take it." The woman stared at him like he'd handed her a lifeline. "I can't. That's too much." "It's okay," Jacob lied softly. "Bad nights happen." Her hands trembled as she accepted it. "Thank you," she cried. "I swear, I'll pay you back. My name is Charlotte." The bus arrived. She climbed on, looking back at him through tear-filled eyes. Then she was gone. Jacob started walking. Home under flickering streetlights, his stomach empty, his heart heavier than ever. Grace was already asleep when he arrived. The babysitter had fed her mac and cheese and stayed late without charging. Jacob stood in the doorway, watching his daughter sleep. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I tried." He didn't sleep that night at exactly 8 a.m. There was a knock at the door. Jacob opened it and froze. 5 black SUVs lined the street. Men and women in expensive suits stepped out. And walking toward him, confident and powerful, was Charlotte. The same woman from the bus stop, only now she looked like someone who owned the city. "We need to talk," she said calmly. Jacob's life was about to change forever. Charlotte explained everything inside his tiny apartment. The night before, she'd been robbed car, phone wallet left, stranded by someone she trusted. Charlotte Lancaster was the CEO of a multi-million-dollar marketing firm, and someone inside her company had set her up. "But when I had nothing," Chu said, locking eyes with Jacob, "you gave me everything." She'd done her research. She knew Jacob was fired unfairly, knew he was a single father, knew he was honest. "I need someone I can trust," she said. "Come work for me." Jacob accepted, stunned. Within weeks, he uncovered the truth. Her assistant had been stealing for months and staged the robbery to escape. Jacob's instincts were right. The man was arrested. Charlotte's company was saved. But something else happened too. Charlotte started showing up at Grace's soccer games, helping with homework. Sitting at their kitchen table on Sunday mornings, Grace began drawing pictures of 3 people again: Daddy, herself, and Charlotte. Jacob tried to fight it. She was his boss. She had saved them, but he fell in love anyway. Terrified of hurting Grace, Jacob finally confessed his feelings after a soccer game, expecting to lose everything. Instead, Charlotte laughed through tears. "I've loved you since the bus stop," she said. "Since you chose kindness when it cost you everything." Grace witnessed their first kiss and asked the only question that mattered. "Does this mean Charlotte is my mom?" They laughed. They cried. They became a family. A month later, Jacob proposed in the park with no ring, just honesty. Charlotte said yes. Grace said yes louder. Their wedding was small, simple, perfect. Jacob often thought back to that night at the bus stop. The moment he gave away his last $18, he thought he was losing everything. But kindness had given it all back, because sometimes when life takes everything from you, One small act of compassion becomes the beginning of a brand new story.